two Carnotaurus were recreated on Isla Sorna for exhibition in one of John Hammond's dinosaur theme parks, but unfortunately, they were never transferred due to the engine incident, and later Hurricane Clarissa struck the Isla Sorna. It is unknown what happened to either animal, however. It is likely that they both died due to competition with other predators. Sometime later, a new generation of Carnotaurus were created by Masrani Global. In 2009, Carnotaurus became one of the dinosaurs exhibited as an attraction in Jurassic World. However, the exact attraction in which it was included is unknown, as the dinosaur was not mentioned in any of the advertising brochures for the park. At least one Carnotaurus named Toro ultimately proved to be too aggressive, which is why he was housed in a paddock away from the visitors. It is revealed that there are surviving Carnotaurus populations remaining on Isla Nublar, but will now face an impending danger alongside many other creatures in the form of an erupting volcano. The original script for Jurassic Park 3 called for a Carnotaurus to approach the characters on the riverbank when searching through the Spinosaurus dung. However, due to the release of Disney's Dinosaur, the dinosaur was replaced by the Ceratosaurus. Carnotaurus had a proportionally short and deep skull, measuring 60 centimeters in length, with a broad snout and distinctive, obliquely protruding horns above the eyes. These horns, formed by the frontal bones, were thick cone-shaped and likely covered by keratinous sheaths. The skull featured keyhole-shaped orbits that may have allowed some degree of binocular vision, as well as multiple fenestrae, including a large mandibular opening in the lower jaw. The teeth were closely spaced, forward inclined, and likely had low, flattened crowns, while the jaw articulation was flexible but not necessarily weak, contributing to the unique adaptations of this abelisaurid predator. Carnotaurus is the only known bipedal carnivore with a pair of frontal horns, whose function remains debated. Some theories suggest they were used for headbutting or pushing contests between rivals, while others propose they played a role in courtship or species recognition. Studies indicate Carnotaurus may have used its horns to distribute impact forces safely, rather than for rapid head blows. Some researchers have even suggested the horns could have been used to kill prey, though this remains speculative. The jaw structure was adapted for rapid but not powerful bites, with flexible lower jaws that may have helped in swallowing small prey whole. However, other studies suggest Carnotaurus specialized in attacking large prey, delivering slashing wounds similar to Komodo dragons, with strong hind limbs and an exceptionally large tail muscle. Carnotaurus was likely one of the fastest large theropods, reaching speeds of up to 50 kilometers per hour. Its tail was stiffened for stability, reducing agility in tight turns. Brain studies suggest it had a strong sense of smell, but weaker eyesight and hearing. Overall, Carnotaurus was a highly specialized predator with unique adaptations for speed, hunting, and possibly intraspecific combat. In Malaya Scotch Marmot's draft for Jurassic Park, Hammond, in an effort to persuade Grant from leaving, tells him that he was hatching Iguanodons the following Tuesday. Iguanodon was planned to appear in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, but Colin Trevorrow confirmed there were no plans for it to be added in the final cut. It can be noted that the Iguanodon's color scheme resembles that of its Walking with Dinosaurs counterpart, which was based on remains of a North American species of Iguanodon, now identified as Dicoatodon, which is brown with white stripes. Most fans say they resemble one of the early animated models from Disney's Dinosaur that were tested in March and October during the year of 1996. Iguanodon was created most likely by Biosyn sometime prior to 2022. They are first seen drinking in a river with Parasaurolophus and Triceratops before being scared by burning giant locusts. Eventually, the dinosaurs can be seen escaping the forest fire in the movie's climax. It can be assumed that Biosyn's Iguanodon now reside in the wild or might be continuing their lives in abandoned sanctuary, which is now a global reserve. Iguanodon was an herbivorous dinosaur with unique teeth and jaw structures suited for grinding plant material. Early theories suggested it had a prehensile tongue like a giraffe, but later findings disprove this, showing it had a strong, muscular tongue. Its upper and lower jaw movements allowed for an efficient chewing mechanism. The front of its jaws lacked teeth, but likely had a beak-like structure for cropping vegetation. It may have used its flexible little finger to manipulate food. Iguanodon could browse at different heights, feeding on cycads, conifers, and possibly early angiosperms. It played a key role as a dominant herbivore in its ecosystem. Initially thought to be fully quadrupedal, fossil evidence later confirmed it was bipedal but could walk on all fours, especially as it aged. Its tail was stiff and could not support a tripod posture. Iguanodon had three-toed feet, and fossilized tracks have been attributed to it. Its thumb spike, originally mistaken for a nasal horn, was likely used for defense or food processing. There is debate over whether it lived in herds. Mass fossil discoveries may indicate periodic floods rather than social behavior. No evidence suggests significant sexual dimorphism in Iguanodon. Some fossils exhibit signs of injury and arthritis, indicating that individuals lived long enough to experience age-related conditions. Nigersaurus was a small sauropod, about 9 meters long, with a relatively short neck for its clade. It had a delicate skull, with large openings, making it lightweight, but still resistant to tooth shearing. Unlike other sauropods, its snout was extremely broad, with a transversely rotated tooth row. This unique jaw structure made it the only known tetrapod with jaws wider than its skull. It possessed over 500 teeth arranged in dental batteries, which were replaced every 14 days, the highest rate among dinosaurs. The teeth had highly asymmetrical enamel, a feature otherwise seen only in advanced ornithischians. Its weak bite and specialized teeth suggest it was a non-selective, ground-level browser. Likely food sources included ferns and soft herbaceous plants, but not conifers or aquatic vegetation. Some researchers proposed it might have filtered plants from water, similar to flamingos. Nigersaurus had a relatively small brain, with an underdeveloped olfactory region, suggesting a weak sense of smell. However, its eye placement allowed for a nearly 360-degree field of vision, aiding in predator detection. The skeleton was highly pneumatic, reducing body weight, and likely helping it cope with high temperatures in its environment. Studies on its limb bones suggest that, despite its large size, Nigersaurus may have been lighter than previously estimated. Initially, researchers proposed that it held its head downward at a 67-degree angle for constant ground browsing. Later studies questioned this interpretation, arguing that its posture was likely similar to other sauropods. As a member of the Rebecasaurid family, Nigersaurus was part of the only diplodocoid group to survive into the late Cretaceous. In 2020, the French paleontologist Julien Benoit and colleagues tested lateral semicircular canal correlation to head posture on modern mammals and found that while there was significant correlation between the reconstructed and actual head postures, the plane of the semicircular canal was not held horizontally in the resting pose as inferred. The authors therefore cautioned against using semicircular canals as proxy to infer the precise orientation of skulls. They found that diet correlated strongly with semicircular canal orientation, but not with head posture, while head posture and semicircular canal orientation were strongly correlated with phylogeny. Dimorphodon's appearance in Jurassic World is similar to the portrayal of Anurognathus in the series Primeval, which is a small pterosaur from the Jurassic, like Dimorphodon, that attacks humans in flocks. Unlike the original Dimorphodon, their wingspan was 1 meter longer than the originals, and they were said to be able to use their back legs for grasping objects like the clone Pteranodon. The clones could also fly better than the original animal, which could only fly in short bursts. They also have angular skulls, as opposed to the rounded skull of the original animal. Dimorphodon was originally planned to be an attraction for the original Jurassic Park, with 36% of its genome being completed before it was put on hold. The pterosaur was recreated by InGen for the Masrani Global Corporation-owned Dinosaur Park Jurassic World. During the Indominus Rex rampage in Jurassic World, it broke into the aviary, creating an opening that allowed all the pterosaurs, including Dimorphodon, to escape. The freed creatures wreaked havoc across the island. A mixed flock of Dimorphodon and Pteranodon flew to Main Street, attacking human visitors. The lifestyle of Dimorphodon is not well understood, but it likely inhabited coastal regions and had a varied diet. Initially thought to be an insectivore, later depictions portrayed it as a fish eater. However, biomechanical studies support the insectivore theory, as its jaw structure allowed for quick snapping but lacked strong bite force. Its short, high skull and pointed front teeth further suggest an adaptation for catching insects, though it may have also eaten small vertebrates and carrion. Some researchers argue that Dimorphodon was a specialized carnivore too large for an insect-only diet, possibly preying on small vertebrates. Dental analysis confirms that it primarily hunted vertebrates, though it may have occasionally fed on softer invertebrates. Unlike early pterosaurs, Dimorphodon was a poor flyer with short wings and a robust body, making it ill-suited for gliding. Instead, it likely relied on short, frantic flights, similar to modern tinamous or woodpeckers, and only flew when necessary. On the ground, Richard Owen viewed Dimorphodon as a quadruped, suggesting its elongated fifth toe supported a membrane between its tail and legs, making it awkward on land. However, Harry Govier-Seeley and later researchers proposed that it could have been a bipedal runner, given its strong hind limbs and pelvic features. Despite this, fossil track evidence supports the quadrupedal stance, a view confirmed by computer modeling. Like other non-pterodactyloid pterosaurs, Dimorphodon was an excellent climber with large curved claws and a low center of gravity. It likely moved saltatorially while climbing, similar to modern squirrels. Seven Tyrannosaurus were cloned by InGen scientists in their compound on Isla Sorna in 1990. One Tyrannosaurus, according to Jurassic World website, had lived on Isla Nublar for over 25 years, born in 1988. This means that it would have been 5 years of age at the time of the Jurassic Park incident. Rexy is tied with Ian Malcolm and Henry Wu as characters who appear in the most Jurassic Park films in the series. Rexy was the star of the original Jurassic Park and returned in every film of the Jurassic World trilogy. This also makes Rexy the most reoccurring individual dinosaur in the film series and the most reoccurring individual dinosaur across all media when including expanded material. For the film, Stan Winston Studios was chosen to create life-sized animatronics based on their previous work in Aliens. The concept art emphasized dynamic poses to showcase the dinosaur's endothermy, a process that took 1 year to complete. To build the full-sized animatronic, Stan Winston Studios expanded their workspace and began constructing a 6 meters tall maquette from 3 tons of Roma clay. A team of sculptors worked on different body parts, with one handling the head and neck. Initially, Bob Gurr designed the animatronic with hydraulics, as electric motors were too slow. Miniature models were created for testing, with Richard Landon leading the internal mechanics. The skeleton was built on a motion-based platform controlled by a 4-person telemetry device. Special materials like spiral rings were used to stabilize movements. The animatronic weighed 4.5 tons, stood 7 meters high, and had 57 hydraulic movements. However, during filming, rainwater caused issues, saturating the foam rubber skin and disrupting movements. Crews had to dry it overnight, and once the jaw broke, delaying filming. Despite challenges, The animatronic performed so well that Spielberg saved for filming days. A second, waist-up animatronic was built for close-ups, featuring detailed skin and pre-programmed action memory, allowing it to push through the bathroom hut wall without harming the actor inside. A female Tyrannosaurus, later called Rexy, lived in the Tyrannosaur paddock, but did not appear for guests, even when a goat was provided as food. When Dennis Nedry disabled the security, Rexy escaped and attacked Alan Grant and the kids, pushing their car off a ledge. Later, Ellie Sattler and Ian Malcolm searched for survivors when Rexy attacked again. Ian heard her footsteps before she ambushed them. She then chased them through the jungle, but failed to catch them. The next day, she hunted Gallimimus, catching and eating one. In the visitor center, she killed a velociraptor while smashing the T-Rex skeleton. In the Lost World, a family of Tyrannosaurus appeared. A fawn was born on Isla Sorna to two individuals who are Tyrannosaurus rex clones that had went wild after Hurricane Clarissa struck the island. The Bucks rampage in San Diego made InGen's cloned dinosaurs known to the general public. Ian Malcolm got his credibility back with the public, now believing his account of the Isla Nublar incident after the Bucks' involvement in the San Diego incident. As a result of the San Diego incident, the United States and the Costa Rican governments restricted Isla Sorna to humans. In Jurassic Park 3, a male was seen feeding on a Parasaurolophus before encountering humans. It chased them and then fought a Spinosaurus, but ultimately lost the battle. According to the Masrani backdoor, during the construction of Jurassic World, team of InGen Security Division troopers encountered Rexy in 2002. Sometime later, or during the encounter with InGen Security, Rexy was captured and put back into captivity, where she lived in the T-Rex Kingdom attraction of the dinosaur park. Scientists have identified juvenile specimens, helping them study growth, lifespan, and physical changes over time. The smallest known individual weighed only 30 kilograms, while the largest adult reached over 5 tons. Bone analysis suggests it grew rapidly during adolescence, gaining up to 600 kilograms per year from ages 14 to 18. Growth slowed significantly after 18, with Sue reaching 28 years old, likely near the species' maximum lifespan. Sexual maturity may have occurred around 16 to 20 years old, as shown by medullary tissue found in a female specimen. A 2020 study suggested Tyrannosaurus could slow its growth in response to environmental changes, making it highly adaptable. Debates continue over its external appearance, with fossilized skin impressions suggesting a mix of scales and possibly limited feathering. A 2023 study supported the idea that Tyrannosaurus had lips covering its teeth, challenging previous depictions. Early theories of sexual dimorphism in Tyrannosaurus have been largely discredited, with differences in body shape now attributed to age or regional variation. It was initially reconstructed in an upright posture, but later studies corrected this, showing a horizontal body position for better balance. Despite their small size, their arms were strong, possibly used for grasping prey or assisting in rising from a resting position. Some researchers suggest the arms shrank over time to avoid injury during feeding. Metabolic studies indicate they had a high growth rate and may have been homeothermic, maintaining a relatively stable body temperature. Oxygen isotope analysis suggests a metabolism between cold-blooded reptiles and warm-blooded mammals. In 2005, Mary Higby Schweitzer and colleagues announced the discovery of soft tissue within a fossilized leg bone. The bone contained flexible blood vessels and microstructures resembling blood cells, similar to those of ostriches. If confirmed as original tissue, proteins within could help infer dinosaur DNA. Further studies in 2011 and later continued to support the presence of preserved biological structures. In 2007, collagen proteins extracted from Tyrannosaurus bone were found to most closely resemble those of chickens, supporting the link between dinosaurs and birds. Regarding locomotion, studies suggest that it had a top-running speed between 11 and 27 kilometers per hour, constrained by its massive size. While not a fast runner, it was likely an efficient long-distance walker, reducing energy use while foraging. A 2020 study suggested that it employed a stalking strategy with bursts of speed akin to wolves. It had excellent vision, with depth perception superior to modern hawks and an acute sense of smell comparable to vultures. Studies indicate it had highly sensitive facial nerves, possibly used for prey detection, nest building, and social behaviors. Additionally, its relatively large brain suggests advanced sensory processing and potential problem-solving abilities. Philip Curry suggested that Tyrannosaurus may have been a pack hunter. Fossil evidence, such as 3 skeletons found together in South Dakota, supports the idea of gregarious behavior. Pack hunting could have helped them take down heavily armored prey, like Triceratops. However, Curry's hypothesis has been criticized for lack of peer review and for relying on weak evidence from Tarbosaurus. Some scientists argue that such fossil groupings may result from environmental events rather than social behavior. Others suggest that it may have behaved like modern Komodo dragons, mobbing carcasses rather than engaging in coordinated hunting. Regarding feeding strategies, Tyrannosaurus was likely both a predator and a scavenger with the strongest terrestrial bite force ever recorded. Some scientists, like Jack Horner, argued it was a pure scavenger due to its strong sense of smell and short arms. However, forward-facing eyes indicate binocular vision, which is typical of predators. Evidence also suggests that it may have been cannibalistic, with bite marks on its own species' bones, likely from scavenging rather than combat. While no direct evidence of parental care exists, comparisons to birds and crocodiles suggest it may have protected and fed its young. Studies of pathology show stress fractures and tendon injuries, likely from struggling prey, supporting active predation. Some individuals may have suffered from infections resembling modern bird diseases. Population estimates suggest there were around 20,000 adults at any given time, totaling 2.5 billion individuals over their existence. However, only a tiny fraction of them ever fossilized, leading to ongoing debates about their true numbers and behaviors. The Nasutoceratops clones are similar to their real-life counterparts, with the only differences being shrink-wrapped frill holes, sharper frill horns, semi-elephant-like feet, and oversized bodies. Males are larger than females and have longer, thicker horns, a taller and slimmer frill, and sharper nose armor. At an indeterminate point, at least 2 adult Nasutoceratops appeared in the wild after the events at Lockwood Manor. Over the course of the next year, they became a breeding pair, with their infant being the first dinosaur born on U.S. soil. Nasutoceratops was a medium-sized centrosaurine ceratopsid, estimated to be 4.5 meters long and weighing 1.5 tons. It had a large skull with a distinctive hooked beak, a heavily built body, and short digits. Its most notable feature was its long, curved brow horns, which pointed forward and then curved upwards, resembling those of a Texas longhorn bull. The nasal horn was relatively small and blade-like. The skull had a deep snout and an unusually large external nostril. Its parieto-squamosal frill was broad and rounded, featuring large fenestrae and multiple epiparietals, though it lacked the elaborate hooks and spikes seen in some centrosaurines. The postcranial skeleton was typical of ceratopsids, with a robust build, strong limbs, and fused vertebrae in the neck. Skin impressions revealed varied scale patterns, including hexagonal tubercles forming star-like structures. Nasutoceratops shared some primitive traits with early centrosaurines like Dimorphodon, but also exhibited unique cranial features. Nasutoceratops had a short, deep snout, possibly linked to advanced chewing mechanics, increasing bite force efficiency. The nasal region was unusually deep due to enlarged contact surfaces in the skull, but its function remains uncertain. While snout pneumaticity in vertebrates can aid moisture control, shock absorption, or vocal resonance, its role in Nasutoceratops is unclear. Differences in jaw mechanics between Nasutoceratops and centrosaurines may have reduced competition, allowing coexistence. Fossil evidence suggests Nasutoceratops was either solitary or rare, contrasting with more social centrosaurines. Coprolite analysis indicates ceratopsians, including Nasutoceratops, likely consumed woody angiosperms and occasionally small animals. Skull ornamentation was likely used for signaling in combat, with Nasutoceratops evolving large brow horns for intraspecific dominance and fighting. Its forward-oriented horns might have enabled horn interlocking, similar to modern bovids. Studies on Triceratops and Centrosaurus injuries support the idea of horn-related combat in ceratopsians. Some researchers suggest Nasutoceratops used its horns in frontal thrusting motions against rivals. Troodon was recreated for the original Jurassic Park, but was called to be terminated and scratched off of InGen's list for unknown reasons. An unknown employee hid the animals in a secret quarantine pen before they were released by Dennis Nedry when he turned off the power to the wild of Isla Nublar. By 1994, they either died in the wild or were killed off by the '94 cleanup team. The embryos were subsequently destroyed, causing the regrowth of the animals to be impossible. The classification of Troodon has been historically unstable due to its basis on a single tooth. Initially classified as a lizard, it was later reassigned as a theropod, leading to taxonomic confusion. For a time, Troodon was mistaken for a pachycephalosaur, but this was corrected in 1945. In the 1930 years, Steninocosaurus was described based on skeletal remains, which were later synonymized with Troodon. In the 80s, Phil Curry proposed that multiple troodontid taxa, including Steninocosaurus, were junior synonyms of Troodon formosus, a widely accepted view at the time. However, doubts about this classification arose, and by the early 21st century, many paleontologists questioned whether all late Cretaceous North American troodontids belonged to a single species. In 2017, researchers suggested reviving Steninocosaurus and splitting off some material into a new genus, Latinovenatrix. Others, however, continued to support the use of Troodon. By 2021, further studies reaffirmed that Troodon is a nomen dubium, and its synonymy with Steninocosaurus lacks direct evidence. The debate continues, with some researchers maintaining the use of Troodon, while others argue for its abandonment. A study of Troodon teeth from northern Alaska revealed that they were larger than those from southern sites, supporting Bergman's rule, which links body size to colder climates. Analysis of wear patterns suggested a diet primarily consisting of soft foods, likely meat, and inconsistent with bone chewing or tough plants. A fossilized pellet suggests Troodon may have preyed on early mammals like Alphodon. In 2011, Lynn Hevenator, a troodontid from Inner Mongolia, was described with robust forelimbs and an enlarged second toe claw, similar to dromaeosaurids. This feature may have evolved convergently in derived troodontids, including Troodon, as an adaptation for predation. A 2023 study on Troodon eggshells found that, unlike modern birds, it had slower egg calcification and 2 functional ovaries, limiting egg production. Despite this, large egg clutches in fossilized nests suggest communal nesting, where multiple females laid eggs together. This behavior parallels that of some modern birds. Nodosaurus was an ornithischian dinosaur that grew between 4 to 6 meters in length. Its body was covered in bony dermal plates, possibly with spikes along its sides. These plates were arranged in bands, with narrow ones over the ribs alternating with wider plates adorned with regularly spaced bony nodules, which inspired its scientific name. In 2010, Paul estimated its size at 6 meters long and a weight of 3.5 tons. It had a sturdy build with 4 short legs, 5-toed feet, a short neck, and a long, stiff tail without a club. Its narrow head featured a pointed snout, strong jaws, and small teeth. Nodosaurus may have fed on soft plants, as its teeth were not suited for chewing tough, fibrous vegetation, though it could have processed such material with gastroliths and an extensive digestive system. During the Bone Wars, Othniel Charles Marsh sent William Harlow Reed to the Cenomanian strata of the Frontier Formation in Wyoming to collect fossils. In 1881, Reed discovered a partial postcranial skeleton, which included vertebrae, ribs, limb fragments, a partial pelvis, and osteoderms. One of North America's earliest known armored dinosaurs, Nodosaurus textilis, was named by Marsh in 1889, with its name meaning knobbed lizard and woven. Initially assigned to Stegosauria, Marsh later placed Nodosaurus in its own family, Nodosauridae, in 1890 due to its heavy armor, solid bones, large forelimbs, and hoof-like feet. The type specimen remains the only confirmed Nodosaurus fossil, though Stegopelta was once considered a synonym, but is now likely a distinct Struthiosaurine. In 1921, Richard Swan Lull provided a more detailed description associating Nodosaurus with Stegopelta and Ankylosaurus, while also linking it to the British Polycanthus. The Tylosaurus was recreated for the original Jurassic Park as the main attraction for the marine facility, which was scheduled to open 6 months after the main park as part of Phase 2. The clone Tylosaurus had a row spike running down its neck to its upper back, like outdated depictions of mosasaurs from the late 1800 years. It also lacked a tail fluke, with another row of spikes covering the tail. The clone's skull was unlike Tylosaurus being as short as the mosasaur platycarpus, with the jaws not being completely straight. Tylosaurus was likely warm-blooded, unlike most squamates. With an average body temperature of 34 degrees Celsius, this endothermy would have provided advantages such as increased stamina, access to colder waters, and adaptation to cooling global temperatures. Previously thought to swim, like an eel, Tylosaurus is now understood to have used a carangiform swimming style with movement concentrated in the tail. Juveniles had stiffer spines, likely to improve speed for escaping predators. As an ambush predator, Tylosaurus had a lightweight build, small paddles, and cancellous bones for increased buoyancy. This reduced energy costs while traveling between hunting sites and allowed for rapid acceleration during attacks. It was an apex predator with a highly varied diet, preying on other marine reptiles, birds, fish, sharks, ammonites, and even giant squid. Fossilized stomach contents confirm these feeding habits. Bite marks on fossils suggest scavenging, including a case where a dinosaur carcass found in marine deposits may have been fed on by Tylosaurus. However, some scientists dispute this claim. Intraspecific combat was common, as evidenced by bite wounds, often on the head. Fossil records suggest these encounters were either territorial disputes or mating behaviors. A documented case of fatal combat involves a Tylosaurus with skull and jaw punctures inflicted by a larger individual. The attack likely resulted in a broken neck, leading to instant death. Tylosaurus exhibited signs of avascular necrosis, a condition caused by frequent deep or repetitive diving, found in all examined specimens. Some individuals had fused vertebrae, possibly from infections, predator attacks, or joint disease. A juvenile with a fused tail had a sharp tooth embedded in it, suggesting a past attack. Fractured bones have been found in several specimens, including broken ribs and a snout injury that would have caused extreme pain, indicating that Tylosaurus survived severe trauma before death. Suchomimus was originally planned to be an attraction at Jurassic Park on Isla Nublar. About 75% of its genome was extracted, but this never came to fruition due to the financial problems that InGen faced during the 90s. The dinosaur was recreated by InGen for Masrani Global Corporation's new Dinosaur Park Jurassic World. It was known that Suchomimus lived in the Cretaceous cruise with its relative Baryonyx plus several other dinosaurs. After the fall of the park, wild populations of Suchomimus lived on Isla Nublar, but despite being the second largest predator on island, they were threatened by the island's volcano. By 2018, water poisoning and increased acidity caused by toxic emissions from the volcano were predicted to kill populations of aquatic creatures such as fish, endangering species such as the Suchomimus. Spinosaurids, including Suchomimus, were primarily piscivorous, as evidenced by their elongated jaws, conical teeth, and crocodile-like skull structure. The discovery of fish scales in Baryonyx confirmed this diet, and similar adaptations in Suchomimus suggest it hunted fish as well. Unlike fully aquatic animals, Suchomimus lacked significant adaptations for swimming, but its strong secondary palate helped it resist twisting forces from struggling prey. Its claws and robust forelimbs remain a subject of debate. Some scientists suggest they were used for fishing, similar to grizzly bears, while others propose they helped in hunting larger prey. Alternative hypotheses suggest the claws were used for scavenging, digging for water, or even burrowing to build nests. However, Suchomimus had a different ecological niche compared to other spinosaurids. A 2022 study found that Suchomimus had hollow bones, making it better suited for wading and hunting in shallow water. In contrast, Baryonyx and Spinosaurus had denser bones, allowing them to fully submerge and pursue prey underwater. This indicates that spinosaurids had varied aquatic adaptations, with Suchomimus remaining a more surface-dwelling predator.